This is Trash Talk with your host, Garrett the Trash Man.
What is up, everybody? This is Garrett the Trash Man, your host, and you are listening to Trash Talk. And not only do I have John the Batman Ballard with me today, we've got the president and owner and my father, Nolan, on the podcast with us before. Or today. We've had him before. I got ahead of myself. He's back again. We're back in time. I got to focus in on this before I get going. I am not focused at all. I've got like 20 other things. So, yeah, how you doing, Dad?
Good.
John,
be back in the office.
Yeah, John, you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm just sitting here loving this.
There's 3 conversations ago or 2 conversations in the future. But I'll bring it back. We have had him on the podcast, so we're excited to have him back.
El Jefe.
Yeah, El Jefe. El Jefe de Jefes.
Yeah, right, you Spanish speakers.
Hey, we'll preview. We're going to bring a Spanish podcast. I don't know, maybe we'll look at doing that in the evenings or something, but there's going to be one coming. And maybe we'll just go down to South America too and rock the South America waste industry that really isn't much of anything.
Yeah, like it doesn't exist.
It's time to fix it. Make those countries beautiful.
Oh,
Get it out of the trash.
Dude, that'd be so incredible.
Listen, this may be heard to some people political, and I don't care if it is or not, whatever, because like I say quite occasionally, it's my podcast.
You can do whatever the heck you want.
Like one of the biggest signs of a third world country, in my experience in the third worlds that I've been in, mainly Argentina and Thailand, and a little bit of Mexico, is trash everywhere. California, I don't know if you've noticed, but you've got trash everywhere. You're slipping backwards.
Hey, I thought that was the environmentalist capital of the world.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Yeah. So just throwing that out there. Now there is a guy, I've seen a couple things, I don't know his name, he's a long-haired dude, and I would love, I need to figure out who he is, so if you know, send me a message, because I'd love to find out who he is. He's going around to Baltimore, different cities in California that are just filthy. He's not from there, he just organizes it and does a cleanup day.
Wow.
And they're cleaning up a ton of trash, and he just goes into a city like San Francisco, organizes it through social media. Hey, this day, meet here. We're going to have all the containers, all the bags, everything we need. We just need hands. Show up. We're cleaning this place up. It's incredible what they're doing around the country. I love it.
1 point for him.
Oh, 15
Big point.
points, man. And that's what we intend to do with the monthly cleanup that I look to be doing in 2020 is, we just find a place in this community once a month. Saturday is going to be scheduled. Awesome. Our sponsor, Larson Waste, is going to provide a 40-yard. We'll shoot out where it's going to be, show up, we'll clean up, get out of there. But we're gonna keep this state clean as much as we can. So Anyway, go into our sponsor, Larson Waste. Thank you for sponsoring this podcast. World's best trash company. The one thing, if we've got any Vernon or Apache County customers, I know we've got some of you guys upset. And I know we can't please everyone. I get a little bit spun up about this stuff because I feel like you're not looking at the context, but I haven't done a great job of sharing it either. Our trucks, you might be able to get your car or your pickup down the road. That does not mean we can get a 30,000-pound garbage truck down that road. They're super top heavy, get stuck very easy, heavy. I mean, any bit of mud really causes a mess.
And once they start heading for the ditch, they are in the ditch.
Yeah,
there's no stopping them.
It's not easy to get them out.
Yeah.
You've lost profit for a long time.
Yeah, and not only that, on our side, because I assume the customer probably doesn't care about our profit, but we are going to tear the crap out of your load or your load.
Yeah.
Wreckers in there, pulling that out. Other trucks. I mean, we've Dad, you've been doing it for a really long time. I've been doing it for about 5 years now. We've got experience of what roads we can and can't go down. Trust me,
it's not worth it to get it stuck.
We want to pick up your trash, but it's not good for anybody when we get stuck. So we've got our options. We've got the free roll-off out there at the Stanford store. You give us a call. We've got a guy that's going out in a 4x4 pickup, picking up anybody we don't have. And like I said, we have accomplished over 90% of the route. So most everyone's handled.
Good.
But that 10% out there, we can count on more storms this winter. And so, like I've said, we will give you daily updates. We'll give you phone calls, emails, text messages, and posts of when we'll be able to get you. So, anyway, Larson Waste, thank you for sponsoring this podcast. And let's roll into our rants. So, I just got started on a new book, and it's talking a lot about what I preach all the time on this podcast about getting clear on your intentions. But it's using different language. So the book's called How to Raise Your Own Salary. Have either of you guys read that?
Mm-mm.
So it's one of Napoleon Hill's books. Which
Good author.
Yeah, so many of them.
Yeah.
And so the premise of this book is he's interviewing Dale Carnegie. And so it's super cool. And he's asking him, hey, how do you build the wealth that you've built? And so he's got these 17 rules that he's going to go through in the book. Of these 17 rules that if anyone follows, they can build the wealth that he built. So as far as I've gotten, it's super interesting and useful. I've really enjoyed it. And the first piece that he brings to light is that you've got to know what you want to go after. And that needs to be an obsession. And what I always say on this podcast is get clear on your intentions. And that's how I hear it. He's like, first step, and he talks about how when he was a laborer, he had a vision of producing, marketing, and selling steel. And he's like, that consumed it. He's like, I woke up with it in the morning. I went to work with it during the day. I went to bed with it at night. And he talks about how he built this mastermind group to start having it come to light. They met on a nightly basis to discuss how they could bring it to light, and this is for years.
Wow.
Like it really was a very, very clear intention, and he was in action around it. And so I'm super excited to find out what more he has to share about it. And I loved what I was listening to this morning, especially because it's something that I preach all the time about getting clear on your intentions. So according to this guy, that's what he's saying. First step is be incredibly clear on what you intend to create. So
Wow.
that's what I got for
Get that one.
my rant. Yeah, I had never actually heard of it, and I'm pretty familiar with him. Read a lot of his books, so I highly recommend it. So, all right, Dad, what you got for your rant?
Experience last night.
All right.
So every year we like to take a little gift out to our neighbors, people in our ward. And the last several years, we've been taking tortillas. And there's a place down there in the valley.
Not several years. The past 25 years.
Minus 2 that I was in Thailand.
Yeah, because as long as I can remember, we've been giving out tortillas.
Those tortillas are really good.
Las tortillas son tan ricos, pero muy, muy rico.
Get them right, fresh and hot. Whatever that was you said. So anyways, Michelle calls up, it was last week, calls in, and we found out, I've been going over South Phoenix, is where this is, middle of Phoenix, and get them there, and you got to stand in line forever, really busy. Well, they just opened a new store over in Mesa, and I was like, oh, this is cool. So I was over doing a parts run in Phoenix, stopped off in Mesa to pick them up, and Mom had ordered them, last week. Said, okay, on Monday we'll be by at 4, pick up 25 dozen. We'll be by again on Wednesday and pick up another 25. And, clear. She was on hold forever, her experience with that. Well, I get there, nothing. They can't find the order. And I'm like, oh man, maybe she called the Phoenix store. No, they don't have anything about it. I go back in and tell them, yeah, I'm sure we called and ordered. They get to looking around. Well, the gal that took the order must have been kind of new. Mom was on hold forever. They did find the papers, but she didn't file them in the right spot. They hadn't built the order or anything. The guy says, well, I've got 6 dozen here. That's way short of 25.
Yeah.
But he says, give me an hour and let's see what I can get done. Maybe I can get you 12 dozen. And I was about half, and I was like, okay, whatever. I had work to do out on the laptop, so I went out in the parking lot, and he went to work. Just customer service part of things, when I went back in there, he had called in a whole crew, and they not only got 12 dozen, they got 15 dozen done. He he gave me a 20% discount, and then only charged me for 13 dozen instead of 15.
Yeah.
And you know, kind of what you were saying a minute ago, with what we're doing with our customers. Things happen, but you go and make it right. My experience with those guys, it went from one of, good grief, we did everything we thought we did. You know, I'm planning on handing out these tortillas tonight while they're nice and warm. I've got some time set aside for it. It wasn't perfect. It's still, you know, I was still short, but yeah, I'm happy with it. Gave them a good review on this thing, and they're still dang good tortillas.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's customer service. That's where it's at. When I finished up with them, I'm happy to go back there on Wednesday and get the rest of them. And I'll keep eating their tortillas.
Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Am I up?
You're up, dude.
Okay. So for like the last 2 weeks, my mother-in-law has been bugging me about what I want for Christmas. She's like, well, what should I get you for Christmas? What should I get for Christmas?
Horse.
She's
Go.
No, please. And she's been kind of bugging me. Like, I don't know, just get me something. So finally, she's like, I need to know. Like, you're the only person I don't have my Christmas shopping done for. I need to know. And so finally, I was like, oh, I've got an idea. So I went through all the many notes that I have on my phone of all the books that have been referred to me that I haven't gotten to yet. And I made a list of them and sent them to her. And as I was sitting there thinking, I started looking at this list and I'm like, man, first off, it's a pretty long list. And secondly, like, I'm really excited to get some of these books. And I started thinking to myself, like, when I, like, really decided, hey, I'm going to educate myself for the rest of my life and, like, start reading books and consuming content and trying to learn as much as I can about what I want to in life, like, that made the biggest difference in my life. And I feel like through making that decision and sticking to it, and I sometimes I'm able to do more than other times, but that has completely changed. I feel like a completely different person than I was 5 years ago. Like, just the way I think, the way I approach life, what I want out of life, and that has just been so big. And I was looking at that list thinking, man, I wonder how much these books are going to change my life. Mm-hmm. You know, and how much they're going to help me mold myself into who and what I want to be. And so anyways, that was kind of a cool thing looking at that list of books, because I hadn't really put them down on the list. I just have a whole bunch of jumbled notes in my phone that are super disorganized. And when I put them down on the list, I was just like, wow, that's going to be really fun. I'm really excited for that. So anyways, that's my rant of learn what you want. If you want to become something or do something in life, like, you got to learn.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's through experience, but learning new things opens up so many other doors in life. So always be committed to learning, because it'll open so many different avenues for you to go down in life.
Yeah. One thing that I've highlighted in the past, I want to highlight again, with reading books, with listening to podcasts, with going and seeking out mentors. You are not a professional book reader. You take the information and then you go execute on it. And anytime I recommend a book or anything like that, or even this podcast, it always scares me that people are just going to, like I've said in the past, mistake that for action.
Yeah.
That's not the action. You've got to take that and then go execute on it. Don't just let it dwell in there and hang out, and let the gathering of the knowledge be
absolutely
the action, because it's not. So yeah, and yeah, it's awesome you've been executing on that, and it flows right into what we're going to do in this podcast. So we got to talking about what we're going to talk about, and we've got my dad here, and we had the idea that John's talked about how he likes to take people to lunch, people that have been up to stuff in their life, accomplished a few things, and pick their brain and figure out, hey, what have you done that brought you success? Can you tell me a little bit? You know, maybe look for advice or whatever it might be. And it occurs to me that might feel some really awkward to some people. Like, oh, what do I ask? How do I handle that? And so we got the idea of, well, let's play that live, of like as if we were at a lunch, like how that happens for John when he's talking to someone that he sits down and just picks their brain about business and life in general. So that's what we're going to do here, and I'll throw my 2 cents to things.
Okay.
But kind of just turn it over to you, John, to kind of run it and do
Cool.
it. How you
I'm
do it.
excited. This will be fun. So probably the first thing I typically do is I like to ask people just like a brief summary of, as brief as you can, a summary of your business life. You know, when you were young, like me and Garrett, and then just kind of, you know, where you started, the different things you did throughout your life, and then how you got to where you are now.
Right.
So just kind of briefly, you know, when you first started out, and you know, as a young buck trying to figure out how to make a living.
Figure out how to make a living. Probably started when I was probably 7 or 8. I went to work for my little brother. He had a paper route. Yeah, Justin had a paper route, and I went to work for him.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Got dogs chasing us and everything. Didn't make any money at it, but we got squirt dogs with pneumonia.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah. No, but shortly after that, I went to work a little bit for your dad.
Okay.
Places.
Oh, well, everyone's got to go pound on trusses for a
Pound
little while.
trusses. Yeah, finished practice at school, and I'd run out to the truss plant and put trusses together. We had a
builds
little
character.
night crew going on. So,
yeah.
Yeah, your dad was part of that. That's part of fun stuff with small towns, right?
Oh yeah.
You kind of want and just kind of what?
Yeah, just keep going. So like, you know, in high
then
school, that's
after
what you
that,
did.
Then I went out in the logwoods with my Uncle Stephen and my Grandpa Webb.
Okay.
Ran a chainsaw out there in the summer times and knew
And
real
was it
fast.
still in high school?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
your summer job.
Knew real fast I didn't want to log for
That's tough.
You got
That's
to
tough
do it
stuff.
really early, and my arms felt like they were gorilla arms, ape arms. You know, by the end of the day, that chainsaw sure got heavy. But yeah, it was a little bit dangerous out there sometimes, and that's a whole nother story of some experiences we had there. But then shortly after that, Grandpa was always trucking, and I was like, so that's where it's at. If you can get in a truck.
Yeah.
And so that's got a job driving a log truck. Before my mission, worked for Larry Reedhead,
Okay.
trucked around a little bit. And actually before that even, I drove for Brimhall Sand and Rock at night.
Oh, really?
Water truck, yeah. Yeah, Garrett's grandfather-in-law, I guess Jerry Smith, was doing something for Brimhalls then. I don't know what it was, but he was the guy who jumped in a truck and showed me how to drive it.
Wow.
Or one of them, but it was
Wow.
old cab over.
So you being behind the wheel of a rig started pretty young.
Yeah, that was like the goal. That
Cool.
was way better than running a chainsaw. I could sit in a truck and make money. So that's where it was at.
Cool. Cool. So after high school, what did you do?
Went on a mission, came back, jumped in a log truck again, worked for Larry Reedhead up in Kanab,
Okay.
and then went to school, came back, got in a truck for Brimhall Sand and Rock again.
Okay.
That was back when they only had 5 trucks.
Oh wow. Yeah, they've definitely got more than 5 trucks
I
now.
would imagine they've probably got over 100 now.
Oh yeah.
Give people listening a little bit of context with that.
Yeah, it was.
They're a big outfit. Big outfit.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you drove truck for the Reedhead for the Reedheads and then for the Brimhalls.
Then for the Brimhalls, and then went to work for my father-in-law out at Smith Molding.
Okay.
Hauled the lumber into there and wood molding back down to their warehouse in the valley, and then up at Salt Lake, and so kept us really busy there. And that's about when started managing Snowflake Sanitation for my father-in-law.
Okay.
And he had a little 2-truck operation then, and we did that. And shortly after that, bought a roll-off truck. Jerry Smith talked to me about it. Bought a roll-off truck, started roll-off,
Okay.
doing roll-offs.
And about this age, when you took over Snowflake Sanitation and started getting the roll off, how old were you?
I have no idea.
Roughly.
Probably, I would say 20s. Yeah,
Mid-20s?
Mid-20s.
Okay.
Yeah, just having kids and stuff, and so Yeah, you're just busy at home, busy at church, working a lot of hours.
Yep.
Yeah. So days of, at least twice a week that start midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and we'd get done trucking and jump in a roll-off truck and
Go pick up roll-offs.
fix garbage trucks after work. We parked them over. Ernest McIntyre was one of our drivers.
Oh, good old Ernie.
He had an empty lot that was by his house. We didn't have a shop or anything, but we had the empty lot. I'd go lay down in the dirt, grease the trucks, and have maggots fall down on me. And,
Oh, that's good. That builds character.
Yeah, it did. Nothing better than rolling in the dirt, playing with maggots. So
Okay. So you started out just running Snowflake Sanitation, and how many years did you do that?
I think about 7 years
Okay.
running that. But during that time, I bought a roll-off truck, started a roll-off company. My insurance agent, Monty Hancock, at that time, had a little company, Muggy Sanitation, out to Heber.
Okay.
And so we bought Muggy from him and started running that.
Okay.
And
So you just kind of collecting a few
sanitation.
pieces here and there.
Yeah. So we just started buying up little companies and trying to grow.
Okay.
So that's how it worked.
Now, did you run Snowflake Sanitation and then buy it from your father-in-law, or how did that work?
Yeah. So.
Okay, so you ran it for 7 years and then bought them out. Okay. And then when you bought it out, how many trucks were there? Were there still just the 2?
We had 3.
Okay.
It was still rear load and just done old school
Oh,
way.
yeah, okay.
But I knew in order to grow the way we
Yeah.
needed to, we needed to
So-
automate, and so
Yeah.
that's when we started buying side load stuff and front load bins, and that's all kinds of expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Changeover and everything, but your profitability or your productivity goes way up because you just go into the can, lift it
Yeah.
up over instead of 2 guys on the back lifting
Mhm.
things up. And the other thing that was really kind of made the decision easy was it was just so much safer for our guys.
Yeah.
They could stay in the truck. And I was thinking a minute ago, Garrett said hello to Mac.
Uh-huh.
My brother Mac was working for me back that time. We still had one. No, we had.
Well,
a couple.
we still got the one.
Is that the truck? Yeah. Right down here, just outside this office.
still-
My brother lost his finger. We ought to have Mac on here and have him play guitar for us sometime. Show us how he's compensating.
That's funny. So, and now, so you bought it from your father-in-law. You picked up a little here, picked up, just started some roll-offs. And how many trucks are you guys? How many garbage trucks are you guys running now?
Garbage trucks would be probably about 25 to 30
Okay.
garbage trucks.
And
We've got
it-
50 vehicles, 52 vehicles.
Okay.
total.
And then how many roll-offs has that grown into?
We've got 3 of those.
Wow. So over
And
the
we're building another one.
Yeah.
so so that started just Snowflake, and it sounds like Heber at the time, and then that grew into what you guys go. How far out do you guys go?
We go from Winslow to White River and from Vernon to Payson.
It's pretty incredible. It's a pretty big area to cover.
Yeah, it is. We send them out a long ways.
Wow. So that's pretty neat. Now, I guess the next question I like to ask people in these instances is, how has being able to, start, get your own business. You started out the roll-offs and then you bought the other part from your father-in-law, and how has being able to have your own business and grow it and have success in business, financially, in helping the community? Because I mean, my whole life, Larson Waste has been a huge part of the community, and it's been just a big help to the community in so many ways. Just all around, what would you say has been some of the biggest blessings of being able to do that in your life, for you personally and for your family?
The big, huge one was just the freedom to go chase these guys around and watch their ball games.
Okay.
When you own your own business, there's good and bad to that because, you're the guy responsible, but that is the cool thing. I'm responsible, so I can structure things so, I'm off or or I've got things taken care of, so I can't go to that ball game or whatever. So that was just kind of important to us to be a game. So that was really
So time with your kids
kind of call your shots and
Okay.
and make that. Bad thing is there's a lot of 2 o'clock in the morning stuff. You know, it's a ton of behind the scenes that nobody knows about.
Quick yes or no question: was all the stress and hassle worth it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, another question I have, because I know this, in me and my family has been a big impact. How has it impacted your kids and the people that they've become by you owning Larson Waste? Do you think that had a big impact in teaching your kids a lot of life lessons?
You know, I hope so. Garrett was talking a minute ago about being intentional. I wish I would have been more present or aware of that kind of stuff. I just kind of, we went through things. And, you know, when we're snowed down and we couldn't get into Forest Lakes, for example, I just load these guys all up, and it was a fun day. We'd go out and take four-wheelers and drag trash, you know. I'd just take a truck up to the main road, and these guys would drive four trash cans to the back of four-wheelers and drag them around up to the truck. So, yeah, I think it gave us somewhere to work the kids. Garrett probably washed way more cans than he'd like to remember.
Well, I was going to say, I can probably speak to that, and you might be able to speak to that about growing up in a family that owned a business too. The first thing that comes to my mind is when I was a missionary down in Argentina, there was an afternoon we were having with this family, and we were talking to them. A really cool family, had 2 or 3 boys, 3 boys and a couple girls, and just a good family. And anyway, they were having a few issues, and the husband was talking to us about being happy and kids and stress and yada yada. Whatever the conversation was, it left me walking away wondering, like, all right, like what brings happiness? Like, how can we be happy in this life? Things like that. And when I went to sleep that night, I had a dream, and in that dream I was here at Larson Waste, and I was working with all the people that I grew up that had come through Larson Waste. A lot of that was my uncles, my grandpas, my dad. We were all here, and we were just here working the company. And I woke up, and my impression was like, yeah. And I put a post out the other day that said, "Work will make you happy." And I believe that to be true, and I got the opportunity to learn that in a company. The very first time I remember working, I must have been young. I was out here with my best friend at the time, it was Marcus Hatch. And
Don't mark you.
my dad said, "Yeah, go pick up all the rocks that are bigger than this, and I'll pay you with an ice cream cone." I remember and we were young enough that we were like, "Yeah, we'll pick it up with an ice cream cone's gonna taste so good." And then, you know, it being a family-owned business, that gave the opportunity that, I mean, I was probably seriously like 8 years old, maybe younger at that point. And yes, so from sweeping out the shop to cleaning garbage cans to cleaning garbage trucks to driving equipment that if it wasn't family owned, I would have never got to touch any of it. And you know, a lot of it too, like, man, like a loader, I never sat down and had anyone teach me how to run a loader. Like I climbed into the loader one Saturday and started up and started driving around. And that's how trucks have been. And different things.
Same on a forklift. That's the first thing I ever drove was a forklift. And even as a 13-year-old kid, man, I could run a forklift like you couldn't believe.
Yeah. So I guess what I'd say is, like, even if there's not a structured thing of like, hey, this is when kids come, I think that opportunity's there for kids if they want to take advantage of it. And I already see it. I mean, my son's only 3 years old, and as soon as he can stink and talk, I'll bring him around a lot more. But that kid loves to come to work with me, and like, for the most part, like, I can make that happen. There's certain days where it's just not going to work to do that, but like, yeah, a lot of times, like I said, especially once he can start talking.
Yeah.
So,
be careful of that. I could tell you a story about talking. I used to take Garrett with me on the rides up to Salt Lake, and he would keep me awake because it just why you know, went out there.
What's this? Why's that?
He's in a baby seat over on the other side, car seat, and man, he's got a million more questions. I couldn't go to sleep. I could drive all day.
That's great.
But he was just like his boy. I would just love to be in the truck all the time.
Yeah, so that's great. That's awesome. So another question I have for you. When you started out, did you think, first off, for you personally, did you think that that you would have the personal success, both, you know, in having an effect on the community, financially, and just being able to succeed at what you're doing? Did you think that you'd get to where you've got?
Probably not, but I don't really feel like I've gotten anywhere either. You know, and I don't know. I guess I shouldn't. We have had success, and me and Garrett have been in conversation about that. I just realized what I did.
It's a very typical answer,
right.
And I fall prey to it as well. It's a very typical thing that someone who's an entrepreneur says because they never think they've got there.
There's always, you know, you can always do more.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. But
as far as community things, that's just what you did.
Yeah.
I saw example of Smith Molding, of Ballard Truss, of, you know, all these, the paper mill of where my dad worked. You know, if you had a business, you supported the Little League, you were supporting the high school, you're doing things. That's just what you did. And I think that's really true. The community supports us, and we support the community. So
cool. So another question I have for you is, this is one of my favorite ones to ask people, and this is for anybody who's listening as well. Someone who's just getting started in business, the young bucks, which me and Garrett are still young bucks. But, you know, and even if they're just getting started or they're a few years in, like, you know, give them 2 pieces of advice. What's the top 2 things that you would tell them to do to be able to, you know, grow their companies and be able to bless, you know, their life, their family's life, and all those around them? Like,
don't be afraid to work hard. It's
Okay.
going to be a lot of hours, and that's what it is to start off. It's just a ton of hours, and I don't know if that ever goes away. It just kind of changes a little bit. So work hard, and you know, something that I've realized here of late is to have that focus and the goal out there of what you're wanting. But I didn't really know that back then. I was just getting after it. So working hard. There's something else that popped into my mind. Oh, be open to what works for you. I've seen Garrett do this, and he saw me do it. I mean, I did a lot of different things. If you're starting out and doing it, be open to what's working for you, and what you're passionate about, what you like doing too. So, you know, I mean, I fixed some windshield chips. I did that. I sold life insurance for a while. Sold securities for a little bit. Detailed cars, you know, all those different things kind of help prepare you. So don't be afraid to, you don't have to sweat. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to start off with your main big thing. If you're working for a company somewhere, get a little side gig going, you know, a little side hustle, and you'll learn so much. Don't be afraid to do that. And that's a good jump off point. Have your side hustle going and see what you like, and get a little bit of extra money, a little nest egg, so you can do it. The other thing that I think helped us a lot during tough times is kind of watch out on your debt. It's really tempting when times are good to just go hog wild, but we run in cycles.
Yeah. Be prudent about it.
Yeah. So watch yourself with the debt. Don't you know, have a good plan where you don't get that too far out of line, because even though times are good now, they may
Yeah.
bad times around the corner. And I don't mean to be pessimistic or anything, but be prepared.
Be aware.
Yeah.
Being aware and
Don't be afraid, but be ready.
Yeah, no, that's good. And for any of you that don't know Nolan personally, I've known him most of my life, and it wouldn't be the first time I've said this. I remember as a kid thinking, hey, if I could grow up to be like Nolan Larson, that'd be okay. I'd be pretty good with that. Just because he may not know this, but Nolan has had a really big impact on my life because we grew up in the same ward together, and he was part of our he was one of our young men's leaders, and was always a good influence on me. And so I want to tie that into a question for you. How has because for example, I know a lot of guys that can go into business and sometimes put their morals, compromise their morals or their values. And how has that tested your morals and values, and how has that helped you make them stronger?
Yeah, it's always there's chances to do things, but it just never. I don't know. If you don't ever put it out there that that's an option for you. I don't know if it's still up on the board or under the desk. There's a little sticky note that "Do the right thing" that I had up years ago. And then, yeah, I think there's opportunities all the time but it's always either come back around and bless my life that I didn't take advantage of a situation or whatever, or at least I was better with myself, even if it didn't.
Yeah, no, and that's one thing that my dad had always told me. He says, no matter what, if you're going into business for yourself, always be as honest as you like. Never put your honesty in, never compromise your honesty.
Yeah.
And always be fair with people, and you'll always be in business if you do that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I had always heard and I've seen here with you guys. And so, anyways, Garrett, did you have any other questions you wanted to chime in?
Well, I ask him questions all day, every day, all the time. So we get a lot of questions out. But we are looking a little low on our battery, so we'll probably wrap it up. But yeah, I love the conversation, and glad that both of you guys were here today so that we could do this, because a lot of those questions I'd have a hard time asking because maybe we've talked about it before or something like that. So that was awesome. So appreciate you guys listening. Give us a 5-star review on wherever you're listening to us. Follow me at Garrett the Trash Man if you want to see what Larson Waste is up to. We're always posting on that. And you guys got anything to plug?
No, just fun hanging with you guys today.
Good.
All right, appreciate you guys listening. Peace.